Your Royal Highness, it's not a particularly sunny day in Riyadh today, but you always bring forth such an exuberant and radiant presence. And so I say to our audience, what you said to those reporters in Vienna, I advise you all to enjoy the sun gracing our stage today.
من اللي قال لك بتكلم بالإنجليزي؟
That would be an amazing plot twist.
Well, I think your mom and I had conspired against you last night.
Oh wow, I was not
and,
informed of this.
I told her I'm gonna shock her and awe her by changing the language of the event. Not only Arabic or Saudi, but عربي فصحى.
فصحى.
حتى لو بتضحكين لازم تقهقهين زي
يا ساتر.
حتى لو بتضحكين لازم تضحكين بنفس القهقهة شو اسمه المسلسلات Can you try قهقهة؟
I'll refrain. I'll spare our audience today. Your Royal Highness, I'm in all seriousness very deeply honored and privileged to be sharing the stage with you.
Wait. Now you insisted that it would be English, so I'm going to ask you. You wanted to be the Saudi English, and better if we can make it female, how Saudi English, with a, or we do it Drawi English, that's another tang to it, or we could do it because you graduated from Oxford. I could twist my tongue to be more of an Oxfordshire person.
It's already British leaning.
Or we go for what some people think that being modern, you have to do the
I've heard that a lot in my lifetime since moving back from Balad al
It's your choice. What is good about us in the energy sector, we are very diversified sector. So we sing and we play the music that gets us there with our ambitions.
We'll do whatever makes you most comfortable, Your Royal Highness. But I do want to note to our audience that your only request in the lead up to the session was to keep it as spontaneous and as free-flowing as possible. And so in accommodating your request, I very diligently put together a list of questions.
This is how spontaneous it could be. Okay.
I'm afraid we're probably only going to get to the first one, so I'll start with that and then we'll see where the conversation takes us. But I want to ask you, Your Royal Highness, something that I think has been on a lot of people's minds about your gracious personality. You're renowned, Your Royal Highness, for your wit and your charisma and your charming, often candid sense of humor. And I think it's...
That is not an opinion that is shared by my wife. That's for sure.
Maybe we can influence that opinion on stage today.
Please do.
But I want to ask you, Your Royal Highness, for all of the young people listening who are maybe taking life too seriously, preoccupied with their next career move, the next school they're going to get into, can you speak to them, Your Royal Highness, about the value of investing in social and emotional intelligence and in cultivating a sense of humor?
I have to be honest, as I always try to be as honest. It was not by deliberate act. It's just, my life took me in different directions, including being an outcast, being a person that is not part of the thing. So I was a sideline person. And I've said it quite a few times. And I now see the value for being a sideline person. If you can use the time to improve your qualities, so you don't sit tight and let these things pass through, you have to continue to be a resilient fighter by saying, I will have the time, I will have the opportunity, but meanwhile, I can't sit on the side waiting for that to happen. I have to develop myself and continue developing myself to ensure that when the time comes, you are prepared to take that opportunity. It just so happened that I am one person amongst so many thousands of people Some of those people are lucky and they get their opportunities, maybe at an earlier time and maybe at a later time. I was fortunate to have this opportunity at a later time. But there are those who had their opportunity, and there are those, which is, the French would say, c'est la vie, they will not have their chance.
Mm.
But in all of the above, we have to make a reason for our existence. We are human. We have brains, we have facilities, we have emotions, we have to have a life. We have to have families. We have to have ambitions. We have to have our children to look up to us, or being something that makes a meaning for them, to ensure that they have a father figure, as they say. But father figure has to happen with sincerity. And you're dealing also with a generation now that are smart and very smart and have other tools to make them even more smarter. So you're not dealing with the child of yesterday. You're dealing with the child of today that is hooked with everything that goes on in the world. So their facilities are much more diverse. Their capabilities are much more diverse. And their link with the world is in a matter of a second in their hands. Every person now has a mean to be part of the world by choice, be it at the age of 6 or be it at the age of 90. And if you are not cognizant of that, I don't know what you're doing. So talking about taking it easy, no, I didn't take it easy. I took it as good as it gets. I keep repeating that, life is about wanting to be yourself, and you're not faking it. And if you fake it, don't think that you can outsmart the world. I think it's only idiots that would think that they are so much of a narcissist, I think, that think that I have the capability to condescend and think that I can fake it and I will get away with it. You're going to get away with it. So yes, I have enjoyed my life in every way I can. I have to admit, and I owe it to them, that I have a wife that is just part of my bones, and children that they are the dream of my life.
Allah يخليهم لك.
So I'm lucky.
And they're very lucky to have you, Your Royal Highness. You've touched on a number of occasions on your distaste for the narcissistic personality. And you've been very vocal about removing oneself from one's role and realizing that you serve a greater purpose and a greater cause. I think another trait that you are renowned for truly is your humility. And I think it was on the MISC stage that you once said, and I quote, "I am an embodiment of mistakes." And I think that the more accurate statement is that you are the true embodiment of what it means to be down to earth and of public service. What keeps you so grounded despite your status and power and position? And what role do you think self-awareness plays in cultivating humility?
You want it in one word?
Sure.
Self-confidence. I know who I am, whom I belong to, what I need to do, and I'm not shameful of sharing it, but I know that if you want people to work with you, you have to reach out to them with the greatest amount of humility and the sense of collegialship, because if you do reach out to them in a different way, you're going to be the Pharaoh of the future. And I haven't seen a Pharaoh succeeding. And I've had my fair share with narcissists and egotists and all of the above, and the condescender. And I went through the bad experiences with them. And I've worked with people that worked with narcissist, condescender, and all of the above. And I saw what it did to me and to them. Shame on me to repeat what I was suffering from. So you have to, whatever you go through, especially the bad experiences, you have to promise yourself that you shall not repeat it when that opportunity comes your way. In fact, that opportunity comes your way for you to bring adjustment, and I would call it even justice, for people that are to be remedied from what they went through. But can I add a little?
Sure, Your Highness.
Tell me anything that this country is doing now that does not require the thousands and thousands of people to work and labor hard to achieve it. How on earth could you deliver all of these things without the team spirit that needs to be the first and foremost important pillar for that to happen?
Of course, Your Royal Highness, I couldn't agree more. And I think if everyone aspiring to make true impact, as Dr. Badr al-Badr mentioned in his remarks, the youth being part of the vision and the transformation, as they rise up with their drive and ambition, it's important to see role models and examples of people who have made it and yet maintain a sense of groundedness and of public service. Based on just the earlier part of this conversation, Your Royal Highness, and following you for many years, you strike me as living the truest, most authentic version of yourself, almost unapologetically, if I may say so.
Because I don't have to apologize about anything. I don't have anything to hide. You know, there are people that have lots of things to hide, few things to hide. I have nothing to hide. I mean, again, you know, what they call it, I think, أنا في عملية تصالح مع ذاتي. When you are in peace with yourself,
yes,
and you're conscious of what you're doing, and you don't have anything to hide, or you are ashamed of doing, then be yourself.
Very well said, Your Royal Highness. And I think it's easier said than done, that the values that one embodies are the values that one projects and lives by. And I think you're a shining example of that. And like you mentioned, Your Royal Highness, living in true alignment and harmony with who you are, tasalih, I think is one of the most powerful attributes that any young person can aspire to achieve. So what can you say to young people who are very early in the journey of self-discovery in terms of how can they attain that level of tasalih, or alignment with themselves?
Well, you've got to, I think, as for professionals, you mean?
Professionals, but I think your inner self with your outer self.
It's all applicable, even a professional footballer or professional engineer or a doctor, it's all the same. Again, the first and foremost thing, really focus on something that you excel. And find your passion on what you need to do, because if you find that passion, it will be the propeller for you to make everything else. You'll become so occupied, so much conquered, the Oxfordian way, of doing the right thing, and you will become so ambitious that you then move to, I want to do the 360 degrees. Like, for example, in energy. Who said energy is about petroleum engineering, or chemical engineering, or electrical engineering? It encompasses all sorts of disciplines. And that passion will drive you to become reading current articles on the Wall Street about politics of the Middle East and other places, being a financier, being an auditor, being all of the above. You become an incubator. I saw your interview with Mo, and you said you moved from this.
I think he's here somewhere.
You moved from things to this, and then I got excited when you said you had something to do with hydrogen too. But you see, it's this kind of spirit.
Yes.
That you go from discipline to discipline because you want to understand the 361. That will give you the confidence. If you are a competent person you will reach out this peace within yourself, and that peace and that confidence will allow you to be what you are before people, because again, you have nothing to hide and you have nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, you are yearning for the opportunity to showcase what you really are.
Beautifully said, Your Royal Highness. While we're still dwelling on the subject of sincerity and authenticity, I believe you coined the term Bedouinness, Your Royal Highness. I quote, "We," meaning the kingdom, "are transitioning yet maintaining our Bedouinness." And as we sit here in Dir'iyah, the birthplace of the kingdom, I think it's only fitting that we pay homage to our heritage. But I think the young people listening from all over the world, not just young Saudis, I think this is a pertinent question on young people's minds, is what is the role of youth in upholding the values of culture and tradition as we live in a world that's becoming increasingly homogenized by technology?
I have a living example in front of me, Jerry. Jerry is Sicilian. He did not forfeit his Sicilianism. He's proud of being Sicilian. But he is also proud of being a builder with us to our ancestors' old town.
Yes.
He, for me, is an embodiment of what a global person needs to be. Now, in that discussion we had, I did say the very pillar for doing all of the above is tolerance. When people learn how to be tolerant, they become so much of an accommodating, acquire accommodating characters, which enables them to interact with everybody, to show their true colors for everybody, and to become, instead of a vessel of one-way street, it will be a vessel of incubating all of the above, by which then people would start becoming more of a global persons, as opposed to the narrow-minded person. But I also want to emphasize, doing that, it doesn't mean you're discarding your history, your heritage, your true color.
Yes.
We cannot change our colors. I hope we don't change our religion.
Yeah.
And we cannot uproot ourselves from where we came from. So we have to actually showcase who we are, what we are, and more important, how relevant we can become if we are given the opportunity in a tolerant world that can accept all creeds, all religions, all societies, or whatever it is. That should be our calling. That's why I have to keep emphasizing, yes, we are Bedouin, and we will continue to be Bedouin because it's not our choice. It's the facts.
Yes.
But are we proud of being so? Yes, we are. Can these Bedouins become a global citizens? Yes, we are proving it. Can we compete in a global arena, all sorts of arenas? Yes, we can. Is Bedouinism something that would let us down? No. It would actually ignite us. I remember once said, I am a tick in a misc event. And a tick is an instinct. But I was not shy of saying or comparing myself to a tick, talking about Bedouism. Now the sandstorm comes in. People would try to cover. We used to enjoy it because this sandstorm.
I told you, it's not a sunny day today.
No. Tell us that rain is coming. Your mom is laughing because she knows it.
She's enjoying the banter. Yes.
Yeah.
She knows.
Bedouins celebrate this little tiny sandstorm with the hope that rain will come and wash it. So are we. We have waited for these moments of rain. And we've waited for them to wash us. And it is this time we are This is the true washing time, to prove ourselves that we are no different than others.
Your Royal Highness, there's one very important point that I want to close our discussion with, if you allow me. You've been a long time vocal advocate for youth. Everyone has heard you across a number of platforms. You've referred to youth as the true energy resource driving this nation. You've injected your ministry with an abundance of youthful energy. But what strikes me as a woman is the extent to which you've empowered and employed a lot of young women in a traditionally male-dominant industry. Mm-hmm. To the extent that when you speak about your colleagues, and you give women precedence. You say zamilati before zumala'i, and I don't know if that's deliberate or subconscious.
Yeah, just ask anybody for the male that works in the energy ecosystem who would ever dare to say zumala'i first. Hell will come loose.
So it's mandated also.
Hell will come loose. And again, I cherish that. I know, in one event, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, Prime Minister Prince Mohammed, did say it in an event. He said, with his finger, he is the one who does a lot for women. And I could not have been more honored than being called as such. But I see it. Anybody who wants to see it, come along and visit us. I am truly honored to say that when I walked as a minister to the ministry, we had 6 females. And they were locked into a room with those, what you call them, pin things that you have to do the pinning thing to go in, and pinning things to come out. And trust me, I remember vividly that they had a 3 days, well, we have, Muhammad, I think you were part of that team who tried to figure out what kind of toilet facility they should have. And there was a quarrel for 3 days about finding, it's like finding Nemo, finding a toilet for the ladies. And so this is what I inherited in the old building.
Yes.
Now I think we passed 400 and at least 10, that's for sure.
Wow.
I tell the guys in Aramco, percentage-wise, and Sabiq, Rahman is here, I said percentage-wise, we are better than you as a ministry. So the regulator now is pushing the regulated to ensure that they at least beat the number of the regulator. But I have to say, it was not done for, I owe it to them. And people need to hear it. The quality of female that we have in the ecosystem is so competitive that even males are having a hard time to compete with. I'll give you another example. Again, I have been honored by His Highness the Crown Prince to be the chair of the Board of Trustees at KFUPM. 2 years ago, we opened, again, I would repeat it, that university, even a kitten would not come around that facility. And 2 years ago, we allowed undergraduate students. They had the graduate, but undergraduate was 2 years. This year, check the numbers. Almost 50% of the admitted students at KFUPM are female. To be honest, to be candid, I'm hoping that next year that the majority will become female, just to make the point.
Inshallah.
And I'll give it for everybody here. You really want this country to work? Choose one pillar. Choose one KPI. Let meritocracy govern, because it's the only fair way to measure up.
Indeed. On that beautiful note, Your Royal Highness, it's been an absolute pleasure and privilege. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your infectious sense of humor with us. Please join me all in thanking His Royal Highness for a wonderful session.